Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is Dspnews, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newsroom and welcome to the Goutopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to go ahead and follow up, if you will, on the previous episode where Phil was talking about establishing an Amazon wish list, pushing his thottery to the next level, to the next stage, bringing his snorts to the next rung on his ladder of his 11 years of his 11-year legacy, if you will. I'm trying to be generous. Yeah, whatever. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about what is the next part of that. Now, as you guys know, the Amazon wishlist thing has been something that's been on the back burner for a little while. Kind of like that pork burger that you're not sure if anybody's gonna like, so you kind of have it at the back of the grill on indirect heat for a little while just to see if the aroma will go ahead and entice anybody to come over and actually ask for it. It's kind of like that. So, what are we going to go over today? As we are now in part 2, if you will, of the wishlist saga. We are here with one of our favorites, Snort Burnell, Dspgaming. The wishlist is a reality. Ooh, yippee! And good Samaritans existed from the beginning. Now, we have a bit of clarification. We have a little bit, it's concrete now, ladies and gentlemen. We have a plaque, okay, right above the pig pen that says, Amazon wishlist here, give me money to buy me stuff. And also, in even smaller letters, remember to give me money. Snort. With that being said, this he's behind the times as it pertains to the Amazon wishlist. He should have done that years ago, but whatever. But good Samaritans existed from the beginning. Now let's talk about that. So I'm emphasizing this for a reason that I hope makes itself rather apparent in a very short amount of time. But you know me, I talk too damn much. When it comes to how much support Phil has had on YouTube, it's still very, very vast. I've gone over some videos on the second channel where we went back to when Phil was laid off. Okay, that was end of 2010, I believe. And him talking about, hey guys, I have my PayPal donation. You know, these games are not expensive. What I do isn't expensive. So please, you know, send me money there, and it's very much appreciated. That's 2010 when he got laid off. Let me take you back just a little bit further. Modern Warfare 2, and I think it was like his 30 sub celebration video, or 60. It might have been 30, where he still has a job. He's talking about Modern Warfare 2. He's talking about all the exciting plans that he had coming up, straight up T-pose, if you will. And he talked about all of the large donations that were coming in to help him with games, to help him with peripherals, and to help him with other things up to that point. And, you know what I'm saying, up to when that video was being made. This is 2009 now. So Phil has had people donate money to him quite a bit. When Phil tells you, oh, I never made a dime on YouTube, or on YouTube, what he means is that this is before he was actually paid by YouTube/Machinima for his wares. Before that, he was certainly panhandling. Let's be honest. He was certainly collecting money to help buy all these games, this, that, and the third. And it makes sense. How is it that someone that has a 9-to-5 job and had just recently bought a condo that was certainly well over his budget was able to buy almost every new game that came out? And when did he find the time to play all of those games and still maintain that 9-to-5? Well, he couldn't do that for long. That's the reason why he got laid off. But where did all the money for those games come from? On top of that, ladies and gentlemen, which will be one of the next investigation pieces that I hope to be going over on the second channel, is, well, one, when you got fired, Phil, besides the severance package that Daddy negotiated for you, on top of the fact that I saw this on a Lightside Bill stream, shouts out to him, Phil sat there and took his 401k, and instead of transferring it over to another bank like anybody else would, he decided to cash out and spend it. Now, granted, there are going to be fees and stuff associated to it depending on how much Phil had in there, which, if I had to guess, it was probably no more than a few $1,000 bucks. It was definitely under 10,000. So He takes a couple $100 fees on the chin and just keeps it moving. Still a stupid move, Phil. Stupid move. Now, there's another thing though too. Oh, and mommy and daddy were supporting you. So that's how Phil was able to stay up on his feet during that period between him being fired through the Blip saga, and then finally being able to get on Machinima and become a partner and get paid the ridiculous amounts of money that he was getting paid there. But there's some avenues of discrepancy, if you will, in there, and I'm going to try to weave some of that out. So that's something to look forward to for any of you guys who know about the Fight Club channel. Anyway, so that's a thing. Maybe. So Phil has been taking advantage of people. His generosity, I should say. He's been taking advantage of people's generosity for a very long time. But let's go ahead and hear his take on it. You know what I'm saying? It's 2019. I'm sitting here living in the past with 2009, 2010. I know, I'm a brain dead idiot. But let's hear what 2019 Dave has to say about the circumstance. I'm going to carve that up nice and neat for you guys. We're going to have crepes again. Yes, crepes. And we're going to lay away from the pancakes for a little while. Also have some French toast sticks for you guys too. I would have gone with French toast, but I feel French toast sticks were a good choice, as well as some other tidbits, a lot of fruit, to be honest with you. And I remember someone had laid down the suggestion, hey, would you consider doing like a fruit slideshow or something along those lines? I have something in the works for that. So yes, I will certainly do that. Just give me a little bit of time to work that in. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, I've spoken long enough. I have a whole lot more talking to do. So let's go ahead and get into the broadcast, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report, and this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG network and productions. You guys all know the slogan. I don't smell no bacon cooking yet, but I promise you it's coming. I promise you. And it's time to watch me work. Oh boy.
That is an epic fucking intro, dude.
And I have to warn everyone, warning, what you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting.
Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
Now, the other thing.
The other thing indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with one of our favorites, Snort Burnell, Dspgaming. The Wishlist is a reality, and good Samaritans existed from the beginning. Oh boy. Oh boy. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I talked about this earlier this week. I want to throw it out there again because I haven't mentioned it in a while, alright? Being the fact that things financially for me behind the scenes aren't very good, and I've been relying on your support, recently to get by. One thing that was a suggestion that some people have thrown in there is, Phil, you asked for game donations and the like, which, it's great when people donate a game, that way you don't have to pay for it for the streams. But why don't you do an Amazon wish list where you can list all the upcoming releases, and if people so wish, they can go to your Amazon wish list, they could buy those games, send you the digital codes, right? It would be a good way for people to do that. Or they could just buy PSN credit and send you the credit so you can buy games, whenever you need to. Because right now the way it's working, just so you guys know, I'm basically relying on your tips to buy new games, and, I'll be buying Judgment in the next day or so. And that's relying on the tips that I raised the past few days. Same thing with the other games later this week. They'll all be based off the tips I raised. They're going to pay for everything. So, if I had an Amazon wish list, people could just go there at any time and say, gee, I want to see what Phil's playing in the next month. Oh, he's playing these 6 games. Well, I want to help out. I'm going to buy this one for him. And they could buy it right there.
Now, a couple things real quick. One, people were sending him game credits, PSN and Xbox and Nintendo respectfully. They were sending him game credits anyway. So, but whatever, this is maybe a way of him trying to be more transparent about it, or at least seeming like he's being more transparent. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it's very obvious that Phil's looking for, any type of angles that he can find, even within circles. So there's some type of underlining to this. It hasn't been, at least up to this point, it hasn't been deeply explored just yet, because everybody's just kind of waiting for it to fail, which it will eventually, and I would assume somewhere down the line it's going to blow up in his face, which will always be amusing, or it'll be blowing up in front of his snout, I should say. So no one's really giving it the long-term thoughts on how this is going to screw him up. It depends on how long he decides to stick with it, but whatever. People have already been giving him game credits. That's the point of all that. Secondly, tips keep getting fluctuated between, oh, I need you guys to tip me so I can cover these bills and keep my account from being overdrafted, to now, oh, it goes back to what his original purpose was supposed to be, where helping him buy games. So keep that in mind too, as he keeps fluctuating on what tips are really supposed to be used for. As it pertains to that, though, let me just branch out a little bit. It's funny how Phil said, I need you guys to tip me, because I got all these bills coming up, or I've already been overdrafted and I need to try to cover these because the bank's not going to cover my ass forever. But yet it still hasn't been established on, is it Phil's actual bank that's overdrafting his account, or is it PayPal that's overdrafting it because he's pulling out his Twitch payment too early? Something to think about. On top of that, we never really hear the YouTube money being talked about anymore either. And that is a thing, as well as PayPal. Or not PayPal, well, yeah, as well as PayPal. Him getting donations, receiving $1,000 behind the scenes, and all that silly shit. That's a thing. On top of that, what is it? Patreon. He's still collecting his little $400 a month on that. So where's that money at? It's funny how Phil keeps telling you, or keeps telling the pig cult, if you will, the pig pen. I'll call it that. I like that. He keeps telling the pig pen that, hey, I'm really dependent on everything you guys do for me here on Twitch, and without it, I'm gonna be stuck. YouTube's ad revenue is terrible, and that's as far as he wants to leave it. Doesn't even tell them when he gets paid from that anymore. Which, if I remember correctly, he gets paid on, like, does he get paid on the beginning of the month from YouTube? Because as I said, for Twitch he gets paid on the 15th, and then there's usually a 3-day layover, which means that they hold on to his money, or at least they try to hold on to his money for like 2 or 3 days before they release it to him, which would be the 17th or the 18th. But he keeps pulling his money out right away. I don't know if it's because he's scared of chargebacks or whatever the case may be. Who could say? But that's why he keeps pulling it, and I'm thinking that's where the overdraft fees come from. And they must be small. It must be like a $10 or $15 fee, because if it was $35, $40, or $50, I feel like he wouldn't pull it, even if it is $7,000 to $9,000 each month. That's neither here nor there. So I just want to try to throw all that out there. Plus Teespring, if anybody even does that. He has a lot of revenue streams out there. I apologize, and yet we cry broke. We squeal broke every month. Just saying.
From the wish list, and then when the game is released, I get the digital code will be sent to me or whatever, and then I could just immediately have the game. You see what I mean?
Disgusting beggar.
And I guess, you know, streamers and the like have been doing this for years. I never did it. But then again, I've never been in such a bad financial position where, you know, buying games has been an issue, and now it is. So maybe I'm going to do it. I'm debating doing it. So that way it's convenient for the viewers if they want to help out. And they're not relying on, I'm just going to come to a stream and drop a tip. I mean, that's great. Don't get me wrong. The tips help a ton. But if you basically go there and, you know, oh, wow, and I can concretely see where, you know, how my contribution is helping, that's a little bit different, I think, right?
Let's face it, is a money factory. Please give me your monies. Give me your money.
The funny thing is, he said that exact same thing when he was like, hey guys, I know you guys want to send cheers and you want to send bits, and that's all well and good, and I very much appreciate it, but if you guys really want to support me, please send me tips. Please send me tips, because I really need that right now. I get it right away, and it'll go a lot further than me getting the bits and the cheers 2 months from now. Now, don't get me wrong, anything you give me, I very much appreciate, so I'm not looking gift horse in the mouth. His words, not mine on that. But tipping me is the most important thing right now. Now he's saying, go to the Amazon wish list. But yet he hasn't said anything about, oh, continue to tip me though, because I need that to cover my bills. Okay.
So I'm very strongly considering doing it. I don't know how it works. What I may do is in the next day or two, I might sit down and actually take a look at Amazon, you know, and see how the wishlist system works and mess around with it a little bit, see if I can figure it out. And if I can, maybe I'll dabble in it and we'll give it a shot this week, especially with all the new games coming out in the next couple of weeks. Like, it would definitely help a ton. Okay.
I may be living month to month, paycheck to paycheck, begging for fucking tips and shit on stream for the rest of my life. It's fun to make money doing it.
Crisis 624, that has nothing to do with what we're even talking about. Because I think Theo says that, I think what he was saying is people tip $60, it wouldn't cover the game because of taxes. No, that's correct. If they just buy the game, that's different. See what I mean? If someone buys a game and sends me the code, there's not even anything financially involved. If you send me $60, that's $60 I need to pay tax on. That's not enough to cover the sales tax for the game. So in essence, people who are trying to give monetary donations to buy a game, it's better to just do it through a wishlist system, because then I just get the game. See what I mean? Versus,
so we're doing the Amazon wish list so we can basically squeal our way past taxes. That's the overall plan with this. But then I have a question. So, Phil, how much money did you actually have to pay in taxes on all of that money that was given to you for you to buy certain games? Like, oh, I don't know. Let me go ahead and dig this up a little bit. Just give me a second. How about a Plague Tale? How about that? You know, you remember that, right, Phil? That $700 plus that you extorted out of all those kids? I was wondering, Phil, how much did you have to pay in taxes on that? And it's also funny how when you ended up making it to about the $500 mark, maybe $570, because I remember going over that Mrhuth Stuff video. Shouts out to Mrhuth Stuff. That you still said that you didn't have any money for the game, so on and so forth, and if people really wanted to see you play it, someone would just donate the game to you, despite the fact that you had already made $500 to $570 plus on it. I think, if I remember correctly, ladies and gentlemen, that the grand total of that was about $700 he ended up squealing out of them before, you know, he tugged a lot of piggy tails, if you will, before he ended up actually getting the game. Now, if I remember correctly, was Plague Tale even a $60 release? And even if it was, so be it. I'm just saying, I feel like Plague Tale wasn't 60. Maybe it was 40? Let's say it's 60 for posterity's sake, but something's telling me it's like $40. Nah, it must have been 60, because I remember two different people donated $100 to him and whatnot because they wanted him to buy the game, and then that would cover taxes, plus it was like a tip on top of that. And yet, he still didn't buy the game, and he still walked away with those people's money. Jesus Christ, Phil. But all this is just to squeal by through taxes. He could have done this years ago. And it's funny how taxes and everything's an issue now for Phil, but as I said before, in 2009 and 2010, he was accepting people's money all day and never even brought up taxes. Wasn't even a thing. Did that for years. I'm just establishing the two time periods that I know for sure that he did it, because those are the two videos that I've gone over. He's probably done it his whole run on YouTube. But taxes are a situation now, being that he's been caught on tax evasion and wasn't paying a business occupation tax to the state of Washington for 3 years. Just saying. And yet he's still trying to figure out a way to squirm his way out of those taxes. Amazing. Like, this is not going to blow up on him one day.
You're gonna send me money, but technically it wasn't enough to even cover the game, and technically I have to pay taxes on that too. It's more convoluted that way. Alright?
My wife left me. Contributions are much appreciated, and they are technically required to keep my going, but they are not mandatory.
Contributions are appreciated but not mandatory. But if they don't, but haven't you said, Phil, that if people don't step up and give you money and contribute, that you won't be able to exist anymore, and you have to get a real job and all the streaming and everything go away? Didn't you threaten YouTube, South Goutopia? Didn't you threaten them twice with, if the YouTube crowd didn't step up, that you would no longer put your videos on YouTube and you would just archive them on Twitch? Huh. Okay. Dspnews. What? Oh, it's not mandatory. Even though he's threatened them before, if people don't step up, that this will all have to go away. And actually, even though I've already said this is Dspnews, sorry, let me complete the point. Isn't this the same idiot who said that if he loses his house, he would have to move into an apartment or something, which he didn't even know if he'd be able to do that because his credit's so bad. But even if he was able to get the apartment, he wouldn't be able to record in the same way with his same Dust Bowl office. And he wouldn't have the liberty and this, that, and the third. Well, here's the thing. If your office meant so much to you, why don't you keep up with it? Why don't you clean it? Why don't you utilize it to its fullest potential? Kiwi Farms, it was Kiwi Farms, by the way. It wasn't somebody on his forum. Someone on his forum saw it and then brought it over there to Phil. But someone on Kiwi Farms actually redesigned Phil's office to make it more efficient. And Phil came up with a mountain of pig shit on why he couldn't do it at all. And I think people have been saying that since he moved in there, that it was all wasted space. He was not utilizing anything in his room properly. He's just used to doing it. He basically had the movers plump everything in there and just left it that way. Said, yep, this was pretty good, and never thought about trying to change it. But then again, this is Mr. I can't carry 50 or 75 pounds without my special little cart here. You know what I'm saying? And without Cat's broad shoulders. So I guess that makes some sense, right? Right? Right. It's DSP News.
What the fuck? Like, huh?
Then we had Morning Woody, who tipped me $1 and said, if I took $20 for you to buy the PS1 classic Toy Story 2 on the PS3, would you play it for a chill stream since all these classic Disney movies are coming out? See what I mean? This is like exactly in line with what we were already talking about on the pre-stream. Someone who, out of the blue, says, I will send you money to randomly play a game that you had no plans on playing. See, this is exactly what I mean. This is kind of what I want to avoid, because what happens then, a couple things happens, okay? Number one.
Let me cut in. One, Phil has a lot of downtime playthroughs a lot. And he's also, at this time, sitting here and complaining about, oh, this right here is not getting enough attention, this is not getting enough attention, I don't know what I should play. So maybe, just maybe, accepting some of these donations for people to watch you play a certain game might be a good idea. And, ladies and gentlemen, there's a stipulation there that he's not going to tell you, but he certainly has said it before. If you donate money for Phil to play a game, or if you donate a game to him digitally, he'll play it for 1 or 2 streams, and if there's no interest in it, then he'll just stop playing it. He reserves the right to do that. So why is it such a problem now? Oh, because you're sending him basically cold hard cash and he's scared that he's gonna have to pay taxes on it? Wait a second though. If I was gonna donate money, I'm not gonna do this obviously, but if I was going to donate money to Phil to help him with his taxes, if I was gonna tip him to help him pay his bills and cover all those overdraft fees and so on and so forth, what's the difference if he has to pay taxes on that compared to him having to pay taxes on money for games? What's really the difference? See what I'm saying? There's another angle to this somewhere. There has to be another angle to this, because it don't make no sense. Oh, donate money to me so I can buy games. Oh, donate money to me so I can pay my bills and I can fight off these overdraft fees. Oh, don't donate money to me anymore for games. Keep donating money to me for my bills, but don't donate any more money to me directly for games. Use the Amazon wish list. But you're gonna have to pay taxes on any tips you get anyway. So who cares? I think I'm gonna have to have another swig of cappuccino. I'll have to ponder this some more.
This guy might just send me the money, and then I'm not gonna play the game. So now he's upset because he sent me the money for a game that I never committed that I was gonna play.
We just pocket that.
Number 2, if I had an Amazon wish list, I'd much rather have someone just go and buy the games on the list and say, oh, this is what Phil is playing the next month. This is what I'd like to help him with. And they could just do that rather than, oh, I wonder if I could just throw random money at Phil and see if he'll buy a game. Number 3, this guy says, I'll throw you $20 to buy the game. That's not even enough, because if it's $19.99 on PSN, that's $19.99 plus sales tax, which isn't included in what he's sending me. Oh, by the way, I also have to pay income tax on the money he just sent me. So, in essence, basically, he didn't even pay...
So you're trying to avoid sales tax? Because we've already established that he's going to have to pay taxes on all of his tips anyway. But you trying to avoid sales tax, bruh? That's what we doing? We're going to avoid, I don't know what sales tax is in the state of Washington, but we're doing all this to avoid a couple of bucks. That's how far we're penny pinching around here. This is how far his hooves are in the mud, that this is what we're avoiding. Wow.
See what I mean? So by doing an Amazon wish list, number 1, I think I would avoid anyone trying to just throw random money at me to buy random games. Like, nope, I already have an established list of games I'm playing. Here it is. See what I mean?
That's the reason why he doesn't. That's the reason why he fails. He failed as a YouTuber, and certainly this is the reason why he failed as a Twitch streamer, because he doesn't have any versatility. He doesn't have any flexibility. First off, ladies and gentlemen, it's very easy to find out what Phil's going to play as for a game, for a playthrough in the upcoming month, because he broadcasts that shit all over Twitter. So, and his pre-streams. That's not hard to figure out. 2, because he has no versatility at all, if any of those games decide to flop, if any of those games decide to flop, then he sits there and complains on the next pre-stream that he has nothing to play. And then everything turns into a chill stream playthrough. And so on and so forth. It's stupid, to be honest with you. And eventually, everything's going to be just a chill playthrough for the most part, or the games that are the chill games, which is what, Minecraft, Blackout, and MLB The Show. Eventually, everything is all the new games that aren't doing well, meaning that no one's coming out to view, and by proxy, no one's contributing to or supporting them on. Eventually, all those games are going to get kicked by the wayside, and everything turns into a chill stream. And he's not even making that. I mean, he's making, I would say, decent money. Sometimes he makes a couple $100 a night. If that's the case, then he doesn't need to stream in the morning, because I've seen some of the streams lately. He's barely breaking $50 on some of those streams in the morning now, and he very rarely runs ads. So where's the money at? And so on the strength of that, on the muscle of that, you can't tell me that he's not a professional beggar, or a professional e-beggar, if you will. He's not making any money anywhere else on Twitch. Twitch doesn't pay him to play video games, because he's not running enough ads to do so. He has all of that dead air on Twitch at times, and he doesn't run any ads in between. Who cares if Phil runs a 5 minutes worth of ads? Matter of fact, at the end of his pre-streams, right? At the end of his pre-streams, he usually has to go and use the bathroom. He has to relieve himself for about 20 minutes or so. Why doesn't he run a couple of ads then? When he may not, but I know he doesn't run enough. Because if Wings is commenting on stuff like that, then you know that that Phil isn't running enough. When Phil goes on his breaks, why isn't he running a couple of ads right before he leaves? And because you know Phil's just going to sit on the couch and lean back and chew on his hoof before he actually gets up, and then run it a few more minutes on his way back. He doesn't do that either. Or he doesn't do enough of them. So there's all kinds of dead air opportunities to run ads, and he don't do it.
And number 2, if people actually want to help and buy the game, it'll cover the entire cost of the game instead of only playing for partial, and then I gotta take stuff out of my my pocket to pay the rest. You see what I mean?
Oh!
Where are we headed?
That is disgusting.
There you go. And you know, it's funny because, taxes on tips, laughing out loud. You do realize this is true. That every tip that I receive, I have to pay income tax on. Every single tip I receive is taxable income. And it's funny because some people say, oh, well, other streamers don't do that. Well, other streamers don't pay their taxes correctly. What the fuck was that?
You know what's funny? I just thought of this. And I'm sure somebody remembers. I know someone remembers this. Because Pepperidge Farm knows. But Phil, right before we found out about the state business and occupation tax, Phil went on now it should be considered a legendary rant about how Twitch streamers don't report their income properly. I know somebody remembers this. I know deep down that somebody's sitting there at their desk plugging away at work, you know what I'm saying, getting shit done, you know what I'm saying, not just for themselves, not just for their communities, not just for the world in general, more than what Phil's doing. Someone's actually sitting here listening to this and being like, I remember that. I know somebody remembers it. At least one person remembers this. Phil goes on this rant about how other Twitch streamers aren't filing their income taxes properly. What basis does he have for this? None, basically. But he says that he said that he thought that other Twitch streamers weren't filing their taxes properly. And because of that, there were going to be some long-term ramifications that were going to come down the pipeline later, because eventually the IRS and the government in general will eventually catch up to it, which they will. He wasn't lying about that. Then he ends up getting popped on this. It's an amazing, amazing sense of irony when shit like that pops up. It also goes to show that karma is a real thing. So usually whenever Phil speaks on something or on somebody else as it pertains to a situation, it's it's amazing how it always goes full circle and it comes back right back down to him. It always comes back down to him. And then it's his pork grinds that are against the fire. I know somebody remembers that situation. I know. I have belief that somebody remembers that. But in any case.
What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? They don't. You have to. Every single tip is taxable income, much like if you were a waiter or a waitress or a bartender or anyone who receives a gratuity is taxable income. And you have to report that and you have to pay taxes on it. That's how it works. Some people think this is hilarious or something. It's not. It's not a joke. This is how the government works in America. Okay? Like the other day, guys, someone tweeted me and they said, Phil, you're going to try this? In July 1st, KFC is doing the new Cheetos chicken sandwich. I looked at it, it's a fucking chicken breast covered in Cheetos dust with Cheetos underneath it on a bun. And I'm like, dude, I'm seriously happy I retired DSP Tries It before the sandwich came out because I don't have to eat this disgusting shit anymore. Like, I'm done. I don't have to do this anymore. Even though it was fun.
First off, you said it was fan service, which means that you're not actually obligated to do it. Secondly, I don't remember, outside of your shower ones, anybody actually having to pay you to do a DSP Tries It on a food item. So what would make Phil think he would be obligated to try that sandwich when no one's actually paying him to do it? It's weird. It's a weird example of it. There's a bunch of new items that come out for different food products that Phil doesn't try. You know what I'm saying? So what would make that any different? If you don't like it, then you don't try it. Actually, I know people have sent him recommendations before to try certain stuff, and he just said, nah, I'm not interested. But all of a sudden, he would be obligated, almost, or at least the way he makes it sound, to try this new Cheeto sandwich or whatever.
To do it, it's like, I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat that garbage and put that garbage in my fucking body.
Fuck
You know how much garbage have you put in your body, Phil? Jesus Christ, dude. I found, what channel was it? LD. LD did the unhealthy lifestyle of DSP. I don't think that's the actual title of it, but just go with it. And I think there's like 13 episodes. It's on a playlist actually, for sure. And he goes through pretty much every DSP Tries It that Phil did up to a certain point. Yeah, it's I don't know if all of them are there, but I think most of them are there for sure. The majority of them, the bulk of them are there. And that shit's amazing, some of the shit that Phil pushed down his gullet. For real, for real. Like, when you go back and you look at a lot of that stuff, it's almost like, it's hard to believe that, one, Phil's alive. Two, someone would be very hard-pressed to, try to convince me that Phil's not going to have heart problems sometime down the line. And, and three, at least for me anyway, having the knowledge that despite all of the things that he tried on DSP Tries It, especially fast food items, that there were other items in that bag that he ended up eating. Just saying. DSP News.
You're a liar?
Why would you play Judgment? I'm sure it's a good game and all, but it would not make for a good stream. I think the Yakuza series of streams, everyone was falling asleep during, including yourself. Well, here's the thing. Number one, Judgment is not Yakuza. Even though it has a lot of elements from Yakuza, it's got different elements in it as well. And from what reviewers are saying, quite frankly, it's better than Yakuza. Like, people are actually saying, no, understand, this is, like, much better than Yakuza. Like, the elements make it a better game. A lot of people are talking about this game right now. People have been talking about this game all weekend.
Hype.
And I love Yakuza games, so even if it is kind of like Yakuza, but not exactly, I enjoy them. Now, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yakuza games, even when they're white hot at launch, don't really retain viewership. You're right, but that's why I'm going to play Judgment as a mainstream for a couple of days. Alright, and we're going to see what it's like for, like, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then we got new releases starting on Friday. And what'll happen is I'll balance in Judgment with all the other stuff I'm doing as a game that maybe we'll do as late streams. I don't know. But it's not going to be 100% the main focus forever. You see what I mean? Like, we're going to do it as a new release for a day or two.
Day one views. Day one.
I feel like Phil missed some of the point that guy was trying to make. One, it's not necessarily the game's fault. It's Phil. it almost always comes back to being Phil. It's not that a game is terrible, because it's funny how when you look at a game that drops on release, and you look at all of the people who are playing it and getting big numbers, and then when Phil plays it, sometimes he's in the top 10, so you can give him that. Sometimes he's even further than that. Or he's closer to the top, I should say, than that. But more often than not, he's deep into the directory. Deep down in the directory. And two, he's not an entertaining person himself. So of course the game's going to fail. It doesn't matter how many new releases that pop out, it's Phil. So it's more than likely not going to do well unless it's something that's fast-paced, that he's going to embarrass himself in quickly, and then, or you're going to get a rant out of him later on down the line, that's going to make it good, to be honest. So that's kind of one of his major issues there. Secondly, this whole thing about we now trust reviewers, we now take reviewers and what they say at face value, and now it actually means something. That's a bit hypocritical when you said people like that were the ones who were killing the industry. And on top of the whole elitist hierarchy that was going on behind the scenes that no one apparently knows about but Phil. And like he's the, what's that dude's name? What's that guy's name? The guy got kicked off YouTube recently. He used to do InfoWars. Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a quick look until it comes up. I'm sure I'm gonna think of the name before I do it, but let's see here. Let's see here. What is... Oh, Alex Jones. I'm an idiot. Yeah, Alex Jones. He's like the Alex Jones of video games. He's out here speaking the truth, telling everybody everything and whatnot, and no one listens to him. And then behind the scenes, allegedly, at least for Alex Jones anyway, allegedly he's just a con man. Take that for what you will. That's a legend. So Phil's out here playing Alex Jones and everybody avoids him. And he's trying to warn everybody about the patriarchy and how we're all being enslaved by these reviewers and influencers. Now he ain't bent the hoof to them. He's bent the hoof, which is what Alex Jones got accused of. You know what I'm saying? He talks about all these globalists and all these people with all this money and whatnot, and then a couple years later, the narrative changes just slightly. As if someone ain't picked his ass up, brought him into a room, put a bunch of money in front of him and said, hey, keep talking that shit, but this is what's really going on. Now are you going to go out there and tell the truth? And he was just like, oh. And he took the knee to it too. Now that's a legend. I'm going to have to save that for a conspiracy episode with James the Lesser. But it's a pretty interesting story on that. I'll have to talk about that at a later time. But that's kind of like what Phil did here. So this is total hypocrisy if you think about it. Just like when he left Twitch and said that it wasn't good for gamers and it was a business of begging and this, that, and the third and chilling, only for him to go back. Wow. Just wow. And he wonders why people won't take him seriously.
Views, make the money.
And then I'm going to, do other new releases, and then we're going to balance everything. That's how it works, okay?
And now that I think about it, real quick, it's not going to be quick. Phil is still screwing himself in the long term, because since he has to wait for another man or another woman's opinion, right? Because there's some great reviewers out there. Since he's waiting on their opinions before he purchases the game or even plays the game, he's losing on day 1 or day 2 points, meaning views, meaning money, when I say points. So he's losing out on that too. Now, granted, most of you are going to be like, well, come on, GTG, that's what he does anyway, because he doesn't want to be like everybody else. He doesn't want to be a shill. He doesn't want to overhype a game if it's not really good or this, that, and the third, or he wants to play it on his own time so he doesn't seem dependent on it. Very true. But if you're already going to go ahead and start becoming more mainstream by relying on the reviewers and the influencers, then he's only putting himself... He hasn't moved up. He's still right where he is now, to be honest with you. Now all he's saying is, oh, well, I trust reviewers now, and I wait and see what they have to say. Despite the fact that you have a whole piggy pen here that you have indoctrinated and you've conditioned for years to not like and not trust those people. It's counterproductive. And more importantly than that, if it's supposed to be about the love of the game, who gives a shit about what someone else says about it? Just play it. Just play the game. Who cares what anybody else has to say about it? As long as you like the game, keep playing it. But see, Phil can't do that because Phil's a hoe. And Phil has to go where the money's at. It's not about doing it for fun. It's not about being a lifetime gamer. It's not about being someone who wants to play games, share experiences, and have fun with you. It's about someone who wants your money. It's somebody who's chasing popularity that I still argue he never had. But he's chasing he's trying to chase popularity that he's never going to get. He's trying to become an influencer, which are the very people that he hates, to be honest. He wants to now go that path. I mean, if you're a Phil supporter over here doing recon, you might want to sit here and think about this. Reconnaissance is actually the word I was looking for. You should take some of this into consideration. That's what the situation is. This man right here who put himself, this pig who put himself on this pedestal, who tried to tell you that all these people are bad, is slowly but surely trying to morph himself into it. It's a strange time to be alive in Galtopia. Dspnews.
I like the Yakuza series of games. Maple Story tipped me $5 and says, it must be nice to know that the people who profit off of you would be completely irrelevant if you ever quit. Just remember next time they try to destroy you. It's always been like that. I mean, ever since back in the day, when the oldest people ever who made fun of me, if I remember correctly, one of the very first people was
DSP Cult Leader. And that is a really good clip. I agree.
That's a nice shout out. And you guys should check out his channel. There's all kinds of piggy goodness there. Matter of fact, if I remember to, I will leave a link to it, and I will definitely put that in the Detractor directory that I have down there. Actually, to be honest with you, I won't. Kevin or Asian GTG will do it, I guess, now that I think about it. Because I forgot I don't have to do that anymore. Ha! Anyway, I will make sure to leave a note for that. Because you guys really should check that out, though. Because it's actually... I'll do it. Actually, I will do it. Because why not? But, because it's actually a good look. And you get to see some of Phil's early bullshit. And the fact that people were calling it out. Which is funny because Phil says that, you know, he had a couple of people who just went against what he said. But it didn't turn into full-blown hate until, like, you know, 2015, so on and so forth. Nah. It started way before that, pumpkin. Way before that. So, and then when you look at the likes and dislikes, it gives you an idea of what type of influence Phil had. At least that's the impression I took. Phil had a lot more influence on people, and a lot more, not clout, but not clout. He had a lot more muscle on his he had a lot more muscle backing him up. I'll say that. I'll word it that way. Than one could give him credit for. Even I didn't give him enough credit. You know what I mean? I really didn't. But when you go back and look at what's being said in those videos, and how those videos are structured, and how they point out Phil's shit, it makes you wonder why Phil would try to bury that channel.
It was a pretty good clip.
who back in the times when I was playing like Fallout 3 and, you know, the classic playthroughs I did like 10 years ago was like...
Phil has indoctrinated children across of YouTube to believe and everything he says and does is true. And he has indoctrinated them to send him money, which is hilarious because back then I wasn't taking money in at all. It was just based on ad revenue stuff.
Oh boy, that's a lie. That's a blatant lie. Another example I can give you of that is when he got dropped from Blip TV and he read and he was sending messages back. He was sending emails back and forth, and he actually read it might have been a post on his forums at that time, maybe. And the guy was basically like, hey, save your money. Phil's a fucking panhandler. Force him to go and get a job, you know what I'm saying, and not try to rely on you guys. This is at the beginning. This is at almost the beginning someone said this. And look at how he ended up turning out. The person who wrote that email knew exactly what the hell they were talking about. Early detractors knew exactly, and critics, because, you know, I don't like calling them trolls or haters anymore. So the early detractors and critics knew exactly what the hell they were talking about, because look at how he came out. Look at how he proved them right. In a lot of ways, Phil went out of his way to prove that they were right. And he always stands on this, oh, I didn't have to actually do this until my business went bad. No, bitch, you were doing this from the jump. You were doing this from the jump. It was just how you were doing it was different. But they did say how you were going to end up, and that's exactly what happened. Which probably keeps Phil up at night.
False, wrong, incorrect, negative, no, nay, absolutely not. Fuck that, Phil. You are a dirty, rotten liar.
I just want to say thanks a lot to everyone. I hope to entertain you in the future. Please go to my partner channel, The King of Hate HD, and click on the ads that show up on the
Now, this is another thing, too, about early piggy Phil here. If you pay attention to a lot of his wording and whatnot, he knows he was speaking to a much younger audience. He knew that if he could grip them early, because this is what early marketing back in Phil's day was like, and even preceding that. If you can hook them early, they'll be with you for life. Let me give you an example. I guess early cigarette marketing and advertisement and so on and so forth, even now to a degree, they try to hook them early. Cereals are kind of similar too, for any of you guys who eat cereal. I eat cereal, don't judge me. I love cereal. Peanut butter Captain Crunch all day for the win. Anyway, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Don't judge me. Anyway, don't judge me. But if you look at how, just advertising in general, but I'll use cigarettes because that's the best example. If you use that as the example, they try to grip you early and they try to hold on to you for as long as they can. You could say with alcohol to an extent, beers, yes, hard liquor, no, because you're going to change a lot over the years and your taste is going to evolve as time goes on too. Because I still have friends who drink Wild Turkey, and I mean, goddamn, Wild Turkey was a dirty whiskey, but it's whatever. If you're in a pinch or some shit, I guess do what you gotta do. But Wild Turkey isn't too bad. It's gotten better, that's for sure. It's gotten better, but it's still Wild Turkey is still Wild Turkey. But I don't hate it though, so I'll say that much. But the point is, they try to grip you early, okay, and they try to hold on to you as long as they could. Phil did the same thing. He used video games as merely as a median to get you in, but slowly but surely, he brought you into his world and had you invested, and then tried to make himself the center of that world. You know what I'm saying? As it pertains to online. And the more that he can have you come back day after day after day, you start to form a habit. And then he became the source of that habit. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why the hardcore fan base, and what's left of them, is the way they are now. Because they've been with him for so goddamn long. You hear it all the time. Motherfuckers are like, oh, I remember you from this playthrough, or I was here for 7 or 8 years, this, that, and the third. Imagine listening to this idiot for 8 years. Imagine listening to this idiot every day for 8 years for fucking the majority of your week. And if you're a kid, this is who you go to. And not only that, but Phil has left the imprint that all these other guys, all these other bigger YouTubers and so on and so forth, they're not honest. You know what I'm saying? They're doing it all for different types of motives. They're sitting here killing off the actual gaming experience. He's the only one legitimate. He did all of that shit. And the more and more that I go through and listen to some of these old videos that he did, the more and more I see it. Before I even thought he was smart enough to do it, he was already doing it. It was crazy. It was silly watching him do some of that dumb crap. And what makes it even more silly is people fell for it. People fell for it. Oh, shit.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, that actually starts giving me some money back for what I'm doing. I mean, it's not cheap to do what I'm doing. I bought a lot of games, a lot of equipment, and now I have my own condo, which is basically my studio, to do whatever the hell I want. So, anything that you can...
That's until the neighbors start yelling at you over that Spider-Man game, right? We all remember that one.
Appreciated. I also do have the PayPal donation on the left-hand side of my DarkSidePhil channel. It explains how to go to PayPal and what email address to send a donation to, darksidephill@hotmail.com.
Yep. And this was in 2010, but he was talking about that in 2009. Defiant Sniff.
I've gotten many donations, and as I said before, if you send me a donation of, $10, $15, $20 or more, I'll mention your name in a video because I do appreciate that. So,
well, it sounds like the early stages of interactive content creation, huh? Yeah, see, I made something new. Yay! Interactive content creation. He was doing it back then. Hey, send me 10, 15, 20. 20 is a good number. Send me $20 and I'll throw your name in the end of in a video. I'll go ahead and shout you out because I do appreciate your money. But I thought he said he didn't collect any money yet, though. And didn't he say that the King of Hate HD was already a partnered YouTube channel? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. That's okay though. I have to step by the DIA offices later and whatnot. So I'll talk to Agent Proper, and you know what I'm saying. We're gonna try to work this out. You know what I'm saying. I need another set of eyes on this case. That's what it is. I have to. It's important. It's important.
Thanks a lot.
Shouts out to Agent Proper and the DIA.
Oh, there's my token burp for you to end this little video.
But anyway, like, he's indoctrinating the children to watch him play games. This is evil. You know, and like, yeah, but the only reason anyone even listens to you is because of me. You know what I mean? And the same thing, you know, over the years, these different groups, the Sons of Kojima and shit, they only exist because of me. None of them would have any fucking relevance if it wasn't for, oh, let's make fun of DSP today, right? And, you know, it's true. The bottom line is, and here's the truth.
Well, here's the thing that, well, before you start talking about what the truth is, because the piggy truth and the real truth are two separate things. One, he skipped KWO. I don't know why he keeps doing that. But yes, if you weren't acting a fool out here in these streets, in these streets of Goutopia, people wouldn't have to check you. The problem is, Phil, is because people check you and people like to see what these people have to say, or how they structure their videos, or how they present their art to YouTube and to the world at large, is what keeps you relevant. You do realize that now, right? You do realize that how Phil, the businessman, the man who did all this on his own, fuck John, fuck Howard, fuck OJ and all them dudes, forget Panda, I did all this on his own. You know what I'm saying? He sat there, took the pigskin, cannibalism, put it under his piggy armpit and ran with that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's funny how now well, for the last couple years, last few years, if you will, he's become more and more dependent on the detractors, because if not, he loses relevancy. You know what I mean? Because this has been thrown around, something like this has been thrown around the detractor community a little bit, that, you know, hey, if we took a month off, if everybody took a month off, didn't do anything on him at all, how would that affect Phil? Now, I've mentioned that a couple times before and whatnot. Usually when I hear it and I remember it, it's certainly, I got to be honest with you, the more and more that I think about it, and the more and more that I talk to some of the individuals here, Agent GTG, Kenny, Kevin, and so on and so forth, it does make me kind of interested in wondering what it would be like to see Phil go a month. A month I feel is just way too long, though. But then again, it might be a bit more definitive if they do a month. But what would it be like if someone went a month without doing it? I can't remember exactly who I heard say that. I think it was Bill Purnell. Shouts out to Bill Purnell. I think he was the one that, or at least I saw it on his Twitter once. I think he mentioned it. But it makes you kind of wonder as time goes on. Well, if everybody did take a month off, what would happen? You know what I mean? It does seem kind of interesting if that was the case. But I would also say though too, Phil would probably just, I don't think anything would change, to be honest with you. I just think someone else will step up. That's like, for example, let's say Tevin, LSB, and DarkDave Mirror stop restreaming Phil. Let's say that. Let's say they just stop. Let's say they're just like, you know, maybe all of them just go to Mixer and they just make it really big over there for whatever reason. Or Facebook streaming, or whatever they call it, Facebook gaming. Let's say they go over there and they just make it really big and they just, you know, we're done with Phil. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Then someone else is just going to step up and do it. Like, Phil doesn't even realize that the detractors and the critics, there'll always be someone else to fill that void. There'll always be someone to step into that, I don't want to say power vacuum, but there'll always be someone to step into that space. No matter what. He can't win. He can't win. He's doomed to this. And what makes it even more ironic is it all came out of his own fan base. Well, at least most of them did. So a lot of what he taught them from a harassment standpoint is now being used against him, which is what pisses him off about the detractors and critics even more. That a lot of his own tactics are being used against him. Phil has probably never thought of it that way, but he should, because that's kind of what it looks like. Yeah.
Actually, some of these people are talented. I don't even want to downplay it. Like, some of these people probably have a lot of creative talent. The problem is they focus it on the wrong thing. instead of doing, oh, I'm going to take all my talent and my efforts and my, I have comedic timing and comedic writing skill, and I have editing skill, and instead of putting that towards something productive or fun or constructive, they put it towards something destructive, because that's the easy way out. Instead of building something up, let's tear something down. It really is the easy way out. Drama, instead of, doing something.
How many people are living off of you, Phil? Like, I mean, since the way Phil's talking, it makes it sound like, he knows exactly what the detractors are doing from an income standpoint, and he knows what kind of money's being made. So, who's living off of you, Phil? Like, please tell me. I know there was a water well that was built because of you, but who's living off of you? Who is it that only exclusively does DSP content and nothing else, doesn't have a job, doesn't do anything else on the side, and who's bankrolling and who's living high off the hog? I like that. Living high. Yeah, that'll work. I'm not even going to add anything to it. That'll work. Who's doing that? Can you name that detractor for me? No hate. I just want to call and congratulate him. I even have a bottle of, let's see here. I got a 12-year bottle of whiskey that I will send them. I have not cracked it open. I don't even know when it was probably gifted. But anyway, it was probably gifted. But I haven't drinking it yet. Doesn't mean I won't plan on to, but in this particular case, Phil, I will step out of myself. Okay? I will step out of my suit, jump into something a little bit more casual, and I will mail this to whoever that detractor is. You give me a name, Phil, and I will send out this $12 bottle of, or this 12-year, sorry, I have to actually take another look at it. This 12-year aged bottle of whiskey to that detractor and say congratulations. If you can do that for me, Phil, I will do it. I will do it. Who's living off of you, Phil? Because the last time I checked, it's a hobby. It's for fun. But you're making it sound like people are bankrolling off of this, like heavily. I'm sure people are, but not enough to make a living off, I wouldn't think. So who is it, Phil? Let me know. Because it's funny, Phil, you want to talk about all this talent, this, that, and the third, all these things that you don't have. And how they could be using it for something constructive and they use it for something that's destructive. Well, what is e-begging, Phil? You also say that they could be making great content, but they decided to go and take the easy way out. It's funny, Phil, because didn't you say before that, wasn't the ongoing narrative is that, oh, they attacked me because they don't have any talent and they couldn't make anything else, or they couldn't do anything else and whatnot. And that's the only reason why they come after me, because everybody already hates me, so it's an easy way to come in and make popularity, or be popular, if you will. All right, Phil, but all you do is e-beg all day. All you do is panhandle all day. All you do is play games poorly all day. All you do is talk shit about people who are more successful than you all day. Is none of that destructive? At all? Is any of that relevant? Is any of that positive? Just throwing that out there. Just throwing it out there. Because it's funny how, Phil, your narrative has changed as of late. And the reason why is because he knows he can't win. So all he can do is try to ease off of his narrative. It's something similar to what Wings has done, something similar to what Low Tier God has done. Some people say that Rich has done that too, hence the reason why he doesn't have no issues. Some people are saying Monday Matt's doing that. So is that what the narrative is now, Phil? Kind of just back off of the people who've been at your neck for so long and just hope that you guys can come to a place of reciprocity? Which that could have been a thing if, at least with you, if people thought you were genuine about it. It's different with like Low Tier God and with Wings. And maybe even Rich and Monday Matt to an extent, because of the fact that they're tired. They're beaten down. At least Monday Matt is definitely. And definitely Wings. I think Low Tier God just doesn't feel the need to fight this anymore because he wants to try to hold on to what he have and see if he can salvage it. I would say that for all four of them. I don't know if Monday Matt has anything to really salvage, to be honest. Rich is probably, out of all of them, Rich is the only one that's closest to hitting 1 million subs. So, yeah. Is that what the narrative is now? Try to ease off the throttle and be like, you know what? Not necessarily wave the white flag, but to be like, you know what, I just don't want to keep going I don't want to keep having this back and forth because it's just not going to work out. Thing is, though, Phil, as far as I know, none of those individuals are alcoholics. I'm not saying that you're an alcoholic. I'm just saying that you're up till 3 or 4 o'clock a couple of days a week, spazzing out on Twitter, and it happens rather consistently. I'm not saying that you're an alcoholic. I'm saying that you are known to drink large volumes of liquor in very short periods of time, which usually results in you going on to different forums where allegedly all the detractors and critics are at, and end up bottling that shit up and then spewing that on your pre-streams in the following days, if not weeks. Just saying. Not calling you an alcoholic, though. I'm just saying that you have a habit. You have a habit of buying these 1.5 liter jugs of Tanqueray at volume, and they don't seem to stick around very long. Just saying. Dspnews.
For yourself. And that's sad, in my opinion. Because I think these people, if they did focus their talents elsewhere, could be very productive people. And if anything, you're saying, these people wouldn't be relevant without me. Truth of the matter is, I feel if they went on and did focus on stuff outside of me, they could be successful. And
But how is that going to be the case when you said that they were all talented? They were all talentless hacks. My apologies. They were all talentless hacks, and they wouldn't be able to get anywhere without you. Now you want to change the story? Now all of a sudden they could do something relevant if they weren't shitting on you? Didn't Wing say something similar to that? Shouts out Sean Ranklin. And Lean and Conway Conman.
Would support that. Go ahead. Do something positive for yourself. Go make something of yourself. Go do something different than trying to constantly deride and bring other people down, because that's basically the only way you can get attention for yourself. Who were these people before me? Nobody's. And then all of a sudden they just jump on the bandwagon of let's pile on DSP, let's steal his content illegally, let's restream his content illegally, let's do whatever we can, because he can't come after us because he's just a small potatoes guy. Let's just do whatever we can to make it.
What about all the channels and videos that you did take down? You're just a small potatoes guy, yet you got 3 people kicked off of Twitch. Possibly 4. Possibly 4. But you're a small potatoes guy, hiding behind your little blue check mark and shit. Hiding behind your little 11-year legacy that doesn't mean a damn to anybody but you. Ladies and gentlemen, he calls them nobodies, right? Okay? This idiot right here was the same dude who secretly got married, right? Secretly got married. You know what I'm saying? Had mommy and daddy, who at one time were sick and dying, had him fly them out to Connecticut, had an all-expense-paid trip, basically, convinced mommy and daddy to pay taxes, and so on and so forth, but then got mad a week or 2 later that no other big YouTubers congratulate him on him getting married. That means you ain't relevant, because they weren't paying attention to it. Which means you were, in a lot of ways, overestimating the influences of a lot of the detractors out there. Or maybe just some of those bigger YouTubers just didn't care. They went and watched some of those detractor videos, got their laugh. Phil's married, good for him. I'll see him in divorce court in a couple years, and moved on with their day. That could have been a thing. I'm not saying that it did. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying it could have been a thing. But Phil thought, oh, finally, DSP DarkSidePhil gets married. Everybody should come out and just roll out the piggy carpet for him and shit. Like, this is Rome or some shit. And they should roll out the carpet for him and be like, congratulations, Phil. Should they have sent you a tip, Phil? Is that what it was? Should Maximilian have sent you like, $1,000 and say, hey, congratulations on the wedding, guy. Welcome to the married life. Is that what should have happened? Should Angry Joe, who's probably not complaining about that Nintendo money anymore, should he have sent you a couple $100 and say, congratulations, buddy. It's good to see you're doing well. Is that what should have been the situation? Should Rad Brad have sent you a couple $100 and be like, hey, guy, I see you over there shining. No, get the fuck up out of here. You're not important.
Fuck off on his behalf instead of actually doing something productive for ourselves, right? It's stupid. And I agree with you. That these people are relevant only because of me. However, like I said, I really do feel that if these people actually focused on other efforts, they could actually be productive people. They're so misguided because they've gotten this popularity for being negative, drama-filled people that's what they're known for, and they don't realize that if they took their efforts towards something positive, they could actually make a positive impact on the world instead of a negative one. But I guess that's life, huh? Some people just take the easy way out.
This is YouTube, though. Like, this is YouTube, though. You're like, is that what you think, Phil? You thought all your gameplay, all your game videos your playthrough videos, you thought they all had like a positive effect on the world? Is that what you thought it was? I'm sure you've helped some people out in some hard times, but you really thought that the world at large, Phil, you thought that you were having a positive effect. Is that what it was? Were you stopping pollution? No, you weren't doing that. Were you somehow, stopping world hunger? No, you weren't doing that either. Were you somehow producing clean water? No, you weren't doing that. Even though a group was able to do that off your back, which is hilarious, by the way. But there's that. But you didn't do that. So what have you done that's in any type of way positive? It's funny, Phil, how you sat there and squirmed yourself into what is $1 billion+ industry. It's actually probably bigger than that. And you are known as the most shitty and negative individual out of that whole industry. And there's a lot of assholes in the gaming industry, but it's funny how you keep popping up. You keep popping up in these runnings. If not, you overtake these runnings. So it's funny that you expect everybody else to change around you. You want these detractors and these critics to stop doing what they're doing and get off your back and concentrate on other stuff. But you think that the stench of Phil Burnell is going to leave? You really think that's what the situation is? You really think that if anybody actually stops, that one, as I've said earlier, no one else would step in and take that place? Two, that you yourself could somehow clean up and get better? I see people leave comments under my videos saying that nonsense, that you guys don't give Phil enough credit. He could be better. Nah, he's not. He's not, because that requires work, and work isn't easy. So how's that gonna do, Phil? How are you gonna play that? I mean, and especially since, ladies and gentlemen, Phil is someone who lives in the past. So because of that, he always brings up his glory days, his white-hot popular days, and so on and so forth, and how they're all gone because of these individuals. Well, what do you think, Phil? You think you're going to stay on YouTube for another 10 years until your parents die? And in those 10 years, you'll eventually get better? Do you not realize, Phil, that the 70, 80, 90,000 plus videos of you online, that's just your shit, not detractors and critic stuff, your shit, is it's one of the biggest deficits that's against you? Because, Phil, you were a negative piece of shit when you walked onto this platform. You're still a negative piece of shit to this day. If you want to cut everybody else out of that, that's fine, but your stink trail is still there. It's still out there. And because you're still making money off of it, whatever shekels that you're able to drum in, you're not going to let that go. And let's not even talk about YouTube for a minute. Let's go ahead and push that to the side for a minute. Let's talk about you on Twitch. What are you doing to improve? Give me something. Give me something to work with and I'll acknowledge it. Tell me something that you're trying to do. You can't change yourself. You've proven that. You've proven that. You can't change yourself. So let's go ahead and push that line of failure off to the side. Doesn't mean anything. What are you trying to do to improve your content? What are you trying to do to improve the quality of the content? What are you trying to do for the small group of people that are around you? How are you making them better? I don't know, Phil. You can keep blaming it on the detractors all you want. You can keep blaming it on the dudes who restream you all you want. But they don't have a problem with bringing people in. They don't have a problem with keeping people, which is really important, Phil. Which is really important. You should know that. You ain't sat there and poached one girlfriend from your fan base and lost her. You ain't poached a wife yet again from that same fan base. You're going to lose her eventually. So you know all about losing people. So how is it that they can bring people in, they can keep people, they can draw people into other stuff that they do, and they seem to be decent individuals. And in turn, they can attract other decent individuals. Everybody's got their haters, so I'm not even bringing that up. Everybody has their haters. But they generally have pretty nice people around them. What about you? Even the few nice people you have, they don't really speak a lot. And there's probably a good reason for that. I mean, I don't know about you, Phil, but I've never seen someone have to give money to Tevin or LSB behind the scenes because they were scared that they were going to end up getting exposed or doxxed or whatever the case may be. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that happen to James the Lesser or Agent Proper either when people donate to them or contribute to them or support them or whatever other buzzword you want to use. I don't see that either. But it's funny how everybody seems to have to do that with you. I don't know, Phil. And none of them are running a doxing website, you know what I'm saying, that automatically background checks all these individuals when they sign up. I don't see that either. It's almost as if, ladies and gentlemen, that the detractors and the critics aren't the problem. It's pignosis. I know. I'm sorry. I've had too much cappuccino. That's all it is. I know. I get it.
Alright, Pragmatic Tactician, cheers. I think it's dumb people can legally receive donations through restreaming. Donation platforms should just make it so if you receive a donation by stealing other content and properly, you don't get the money. Yeah, well, you know, it shouldn't be allowed at all.
That if someone is illegally restreaming my stream, those are my views. You're right, they are.
Restreaming without permission shouldn't be allowed. The problem is YouTube, as I've told people many times, doesn't get involved in these disputes unless there's a lawsuit involved. They won't even take down a video. If you legally prove someone just stole your video, okay, and you strike down that video on YouTube, that person can just dispute your strike, and the video goes back live, and then you have to sue them to get the video taken down. That's actually how it works. If you can believe it, how stupid is that, right?
Is fair use not a thing, Phil? Is transformative work not a thing? Okay.
No sense. But that's how it works. That's how YouTube's system works. Twitch is the opposite.
It's funny when it's Phil, and he used to talk this shit about video game, when video game publishers or companies used to take down his videos, he used to sit there and get mad and say, it's fair use, it's transformative, this, that, and the third. But yet, when people make content off Phil, it's not fair use, it's not transformative, all of it needs to be taken down, and if he had a lawyer, he would do so. But in truth, if he had a lawyer, wouldn't he not sue the tax guy back in Connecticut who fucked him over? I don't know, that's semantics.
Prove someone's stealing your content, they shut that shit down right away and the person will get banned. But on YouTube, it's like pulling teeth to get them to do anything to even notice it. And
that's not true at all either. Because there are people on Twitch who restream other people on Twitch all the time. There are people on Twitch who restream people on YouTube all the time that may have given popularity on off of it, if you will. That's all they do, is react to other people's videos. You think someone on Twitch should get taken down for that? And yet it happens on your platform, and they're partnered too, Phil. Oh, that's what it was. They're partnered also. They have that blue check mark too. So they're part of the little club. So now you really can't say nothing. Gotcha. I see how that was clever, Phil. That was real clever. It wasn't smooth, but it was clever.
They just restore it anyway until you sue them. So YouTube doesn't have any actual protections in there for content creators at all. All they have is protections for their own ass.
Ow! Why'd you do that?
I said, guess what? I think it's finally time that DSP bites back a little bit.
Why did you do that? Why'd you just go to bite mommy? Wow. Alright, so you see what pigs can do.
So they have things in there to protect them from being sued, but not from anyone else from stealing your content. And that's pathetic, and that's why I hate YouTube. And I'm pretty much done with it. You know, but that's also why the people who steal my content are over on YouTube, because YouTube is basically where everyone who does illegal shit goes, because YouTube doesn't give a fuck. Versus on Twitch, you can't get away with that shit. The old node tipped me $1. Since my Switch is covered in dust, I haven't touched it.
So why would you complain about it? Especially when you had a group of individuals kicked off of it, and all you did was give them more strength. You were dumb. You were dumb. And this is something that I've been thinking about for a little while. And this is just speculation, of course. I don't know. I've never spoken to Tevin, so I couldn't tell you either which way. But I feel like, in some ways, things might have been different if Phil never got Tevin kicked off that site. Now, granted, as I've said, and I'm still a proponent of, Tevin will be back. Tevin will be back up there in, I don't know, let's see, that happened in 2000... Holy shit, I think, did all those guys get knocked off in like 2018? So I'd say like somewhere in 2020, as late as 2021, those guys will be able to come back. At least 2 years. It could be 3, because I think Low Tier God had to wait 3, but goddamn, they were coming after Low Tier God's neck. Not to say that they didn't come at him for the right reasons, because they did. But the last time he got banned was kind of shaky. But before that, you know, you know, it is what it is. You play with the bull, you tug on the bull's tail, you're gonna catch horns. So that is what that is. But eventually, all those guys are going to come back. And then what, Phil? Then what? So you have you may have gotten 2 years of rest out of it, only for them to come back. And then what would be even more of a slap to the face, Phil, is if all of those individuals could get everybody from YouTube respectfully to migrate over there to Twitch and make all of them bigger than you. That would hurt. That would hurt to see a Detractor who's not doing Detractor content on Twitch with like, oh, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 subs. Subs, not followers, Phil. Subs. And it would be a shame, Phil, if Twitch ended up doing a purge of like dead sub counts, or dead accounts, I should say, in general, and that 70,000 subs that you have end up dwindling down to like 30. Oof, or 20 even. Oof, that would hurt. That would really, really hurt, Phil. It almost makes it seem like that prison that you put yourself over there, that glass prison you put over there on Twitch, really wasn't worth it. It's only a matter of time, though. It's only a matter of time, though, Piglet. Only a matter of time.
Odyssey. I'll pick up Mario Maker 2 if you'll be playing viewer levels. Also excited for the wish list. Be cool to know that I funded a full playthrough from you. Yeah, the way I'm gonna approach, as I said, the way I'm gonna approach Super Mario Maker 2 is exactly how I did Super Mario Maker 1. Alright? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to basically play the game at release for a day or two. If it has a story mode, I'll check that out, or whatever. Maybe I'll see initially what levels are available online. But then I'm going to give it a break. I'll probably play only 1 or 2 sessions. Then I'm purposely going to take a break from the game for like a week or two. I'll go back to it in a week or two, and I'll say, now that people have had time to dive into this game, what did they do with it? What did they make? Because...
You think it's going to take a... Now, this is disguised to try to seem like this is a good business move. It's not a good business move. But whatever. It is what it is. For someone who relies on games, allegedly, to pay his bills, not panhandling, not begging, but relies on games to pay his bills, to play a hot new release from Nintendo that he can profit from on all platforms for 1 or 2 sessions and then drop it for 2 weeks because he has to rely on other people to make stages for him to play is stupid. Now, what makes that even more stupid is the fact that he thinks it would only take people a week or two to design stages. There are some people who buy Mario Maker, Super Mario Maker, just to design stages. That's all they do. Here, Phil, let me go ahead and put you onto something that you don't know about, because since you get all your information off Twitter, you don't know shit about shit. You do know that there are forums out there. You do know that there are forums out there with people who design stages for other people and who are paid pretty good money to do it. You do also know that there are people who are paid to design the most hellacious stages possible. And there are literal Deadpools, if you guys know what a Deadpool is, not the character, but what the character is kind of based off of, if you guys know Deadpool's lore, who are actually, who basically have Deadpools for people to challenge and try to beat these stages, and there's a cash pot behind that. You do know, oh, you don't know any of those things. I got you. I got you. Well, that's how that works, Phil. There are people out there who are paid to come up with stages for other people, or for groups of people, if you will. Just about anything you do these days, ladies and gentlemen, can be monetized in some way, especially if you're good at it. So it would only make sense that there are people out there who would do the exact same thing for video games and for game design and so on and so forth. And this is just at the consumer level. We're not talking about I'm not even talking about for companies, Phil, which is what you're thinking. I'm talking about for people who will go to this guy and be like, hey, here's $60. Here's $100. I need you to design me 2 stages that are outrageous, that theoretically cannot be beaten, but they can be beaten. And someone will do it. So that's what Mario Maker is about. That's what that life's about. If you would think, if you could think outside the box, Phil, it'd be kind of easy to come to those conclusions. But whatever. Either which way. So you want to go ahead and play story mode, or whatever the case may be, and then you're going to drop the game purposely for 2 weeks to wait for other people to come up with levels. So what? We can have a failure simulator with you and Mario? This is what the plan's going to be. Can't wait to cover that. Can't wait to cover that.
The best content of that game is the user-created levels, by far.
Ultimate laziness. In the last 10 years, that's basically been me.
The initial content will just be covering whatever's in the game at launch.
Day 1 views, day 1 inflated views, make the money. I got an anonymous dollar tip saying you're having a hard time with Crash Team Racing because you're not good at it. You didn't even know the drift meter was there until last night. That's completely incorrect. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I knew the drift meter was there since the beginning of the playthrough. How else would I have been doing the speed boosts on the corners? You're dumb. Burn in hell, Burnell. And now I'm going to burn in hell for the rest of eternity because of it. You can't change who you are, I guess. Support content creators who love what they do, who do things for a living because they have a passion for it.
This is what I was talking about earlier.
Who, because they love gaming, they put out content. They don't do drama shit. They don't do these stunts. They don't do stupid shit because they're genuine good people who love.
Isn't what you're doing right now drama shit? You're basically dog whistling right now.
Do, and they want to be, you know, sharing of that with the world. Don't support people who pull stupid shit. What pasta do you prefer? I prefer a penne. Oh! Easy to eat. Oh! Phil's.
Oh boy. Fucking A. Literally pig whistling there. It's like garbage. It's absolute garbage. Anyway. It's terrible. Okay. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for kind of listening in on that nonsense, because that's exactly what that was. Okay, so wasn't expecting the whole situation with the restreaming and all of that, but that's Phil for you. Just the cornucopia of complaints. So, looking back, Amazon wishlist is a reality. We will wait for that to fail, or we will wait for that to bite him in the ass. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when I say that, I don't mean in the short term. We're long-term thinkers here. In a couple of years, don't be surprised if some shit comes up out of nowhere on that. The Good Samaritans, basically the pay piggies. It is what it is. As far as I'm concerned, as long as out of 100 people, if Phil can convince 3 people to give him $1, he thinks he's winning. And maybe he is. I don't know. But it's reasons like that the 97% rule is a thing. So there you go. And then the whole stealing content, the restreaming, and this, that, and the third, he did it himself. There was no reason, yet again, to take Tevin and take those other guys off that platform. They were out there doing his own thing, and Phil couldn't deal with it. His ego was too damn big, and he made a move that hurts him to this day. Let me explain briefly. When Phil had those guys knocked off of Twitch, and this is specifically for Tevin, really. All he did was give Tevin all the motivation he ever needed to go after his neck in a very laid-back sort of way on YouTube. You took him off a platform that he really enjoyed, that not only did he enjoy streaming, but he enjoyed watching other streamers, which I'm sure he still does. You took away from him, in the short term, by the way, Phil, short term, you took away something from him that he enjoyed doing. You know what I mean? And so now, what does Tevin have to lose? He didn't have anything to lose. Now it was like, all right, then, if this is how you're going to go about it, then all gloves are taken off. It's one thing to strike a video, but to get a dude removed off of the platform, getting someone deplatformed, is something completely different. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you guys have been following Tevin for as long as I have, you know that he's spent a lot of time working on Twitch, trying to get things better, trying to bring you the best quality possible. You can see him do that on YouTube, you can see him do that on Mixer. And Stream.me is gone now. I don't know if he's on DLive. I don't know. I'm sure there's another platform he's streaming on. But you know what I'm saying? That's what he's constantly doing. He's constantly improving. Something that Phil doesn't like. Something that Phil can't do. And in a lot of ways, I think something that Phil doesn't understand. He doesn't understand what constant improvement is. He says he does from his little ACE certificate or whatever the fuck that means. But then what good was that when he got fired a month later? Just saying. All you did, Phil, was isolate yourself on Twitch, which is fine. But you can't get nowhere on Twitch. All you can do is rely on the same 300 or 400 people every day. Now, all the real money, now all the real support, Now all the real clout, if you will, in air quotes, all the real clout in air quotes, as you would say, sorry about that, is on YouTube, and you hate it. And you hate it, and that's why you still, well, you probably haven't done it lately, but that's why you try to strike down videos, and it's not working. But then again, YouTube is just supposed to be an archive, so it shouldn't matter either which way, right? I don't know, semantics, I guess. Fuck do I know, right? I'm just a brain dead detractor, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it, and keep restreaming, keep making Detractor/critic content. Keep doing it. If you enjoy it, keep doing it. Don't ever force yourself to do it, because then it's not fun. And if it's not fun, it's going to be boring. If it's going to be boring, you're going to end up like Phil. And no one wants gout. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. This is the Snort Report, and this is Dspnews. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh yes, a GTG Network of Productions. I've been your host / anchor GTG, and I am signing off. Take care of yourselves. End the broadcast. Oh, you're an idiot, Phil.